If we go back to 2019, we will see that the US dollar was the most dominant currency in the world. It made up more than 70% of all foreign bank reserves. It was involved in over 40% of all global transactions. And it is estimated that over $1.7 trillion are held by central banks worldwide as part of their foreign reserves. So why is the US dollar so important? Why is it used so often? And why do countries around the world accept it? We're gonna answer these questions and many more in today's video. We would like to thank our supporters for their continued support, and if you want to support us, you can check out the links in the description. Also, before we start, make sure to subscribe and like this video to stay updated with our latest videos. Let's get right into it. One of the main reasons why the US dollar has become such an important currency around the world is because of the strength of the U.S. economy. The U.S. is the largest economy in the world by nominal GDP. So there are several advantages to holding dollars rather than other currencies. First, there's an increased demand for the dollar. This is due to the fact that the U.S. imports more goods and services than any other country in the world. In 2020, the U.S. imported goods and services worth $2.5 trillion. To purchase these imports, foreign producers must first obtain American dollars. This increases the demand for the dollar and makes it more valuable. Second, investors usually invest their money in the United States. The reason for this is that they can earn a higher return on their investment than they can in most other countries. This is because the U.S. financial market is one of the deepest and most liquid in the world. Another reason why the US dollar is so important is because it's backed by the US government. The U.S. government is the largest and most powerful government in the world. So if you hold dollars, you know that your money is safe. This is unlike many other countries whose currencies are not backed by their governments. For example, if you hold Venezuelan bolivars, you know that your money isn't very safe. This is because Venezuela has had hyperinflation in the past, and it could happen again in the future. The US dollar is also seen as a safe investment because of the strength of the US economy. As we mentioned earlier, the US economy is the largest economy in the world. So it's unlikely that the US dollar will collapse anytime soon. This is unlike some other currencies which are pegged to smaller economies. For example, the Cayman Islands dollar is pegged to the Jamaican dollar. If Jamaica's economy collapses, then the Cayman Islands dollar will likely collapse as well. Now let's talk about something called the petrodollar. The petrodollar is a system in which oil is bought and sold using US dollars. This system was established in the 1970s, and it has since become the standard for international oil transactions. The petrodollar is one of the main reasons why the US dollar is so important today. Before the petrodollar, oil was priced in a variety of different currencies. This made it difficult to compare prices, and it made it hard to do business in the international oil markets. The petrodollar standardized the pricing of oil, and it made it easier to do business. It also gave the US dollar a new purpose. Prior to the petrodollar, the US dollar was primarily used for trade between the US and other countries. But the petrodollar made it so that the US dollar is now used for trade in oil all over the world. This has made the US dollar one of the most important currencies in the world. In addition to being a major player in the international oil markets, the United States is also a major player in the global financial system. Most international transactions are conducted using the US dollar. This is because the majority of the world's financial assets are held in the United States. The United States is also home to many of the world's leading financial institutions, including the New York Stock Exchange, the Nasdaq, and the Federal Reserve. These institutions play a key role in the global financial system, and they help to make the US dollar so important. Now, let's look at a few examples of how the US dollar is used around the world. First, when you travel to another country, you can use your US dollars to buy goods and services there. For example, let's say you're traveling to France. You can use your US dollars to buy food, souvenirs, and other items while you're there. Of course, you will have to convert your US dollars into euros, but you don't necessarily need to do this yourself. Many merchants in tourist areas will accept US dollars as payment. Second, if you want to invest in another country's economy, you can buy that country's currency using the US dollar. For example, let's say you want to invest in the Brazilian economy. You can use the US dollars to buy Brazilian reals. This will allow you to profit if the real appreciates in value relative to the US dollar. Third, if you want to borrow money from a foreign lender, you may need to use the US dollar. This is because foreign lenders often require that loans be denominated in a stable currency. The US dollar is seen as a stable currency, so it's often used for cross-border loans. Fourth, the US dollar is also used to buy assets in foreign countries. For example, let's say you want to buy property in Mexico. You can use your US dollars to purchase the property. In this situation, you would likely need to convert your US dollars into Mexican pesos, but you can still use the US dollar to complete the transaction. Finally, let's discuss some of the challenges facing the US dollar. While the US dollar is currently the world's leading currency, there are challenges that could cause its importance to decline in the future. One of the biggest challenges facing the US dollar is the growing debt of the United States government. The national debt is currently over $33 trillion, and it's growing every year. This debt is held both by foreign and domestic investors. If the US government defaults on its debt, or if interest rates on the debt become too high, it could cause the US dollar to lose value. Another challenge facing the US dollar is the increasing dominance of the euro. The euro is the official currency of 19 European countries, and it is the second most traded currency in the world. If the euro continues to gain popularity, it could eventually overtake the US dollar as the world's leading currency. A third challenge facing the US dollar is the rise of cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are digital assets that are used as a medium of exchange. They are not issued by any government, and their value is not tied to any government's economic stability. This makes them somewhat unpredictable, but it also makes them appealing as an alternative to the US dollar. If cryptocurrencies continue to grow in popularity, it could eventually lead to the US dollar losing some of its importance. So, to answer the question of today's title, the US dollar is accepted around the world for several reasons. The US has the largest economy in the world, and its currency is backed by the US government. These factors make the US dollar a safe investment and a reliable currency to use for international transactions. The petrodollar, which is the practice of buying and selling oil using the US dollar, has also helped to make the US dollar important around the world. While there are challenges facing the US dollar, such as the growing national debt and the rise of cryptocurrencies, it is unlikely that the US dollar will lose its importance anytime soon. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. We would also like to thank our supporters for their continued support. If you would like to support us, you can check out the links in the description.